Hi everybody, Chef Lily here, the Kid Chef. Welcome. Today we're going to fix 3 recipes. We're going to make a chai iced tea, a coconut curry soup with tofu, and fresh shrimp and avocado spring rolls. So we have an Asian-inspired menu in the house. So let's go ahead and get started here, guys. I was peeling some shrimp before we got started. I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands real quick because I'm going to actually go ahead and prepare the tea first. So we're using a box of Celestial Seasoning Bengal Spice Tea. You could use caffeine-free chai tea or whatever kind of caffeine-free tea is your favorite, or herbal tea. And I went ahead and boiled 8 cups of water. And I steeped my tea bags in the water for about 20 minutes. I have that in a pitcher right here. And I'm going to go ahead and take the tea bags out. Put those in our compost. And then I also have a can of sweetened condensed milk here. I'm going to pour that into my tea, and that's going to sweeten it up and make it nice and creamy so that it's like a chai latte. All right, and I have a spatula that I can get all of the condensed milk out of the can with. And I'm going to go ahead and use it to stir the milk. And then I'll just go ahead and put this in the fridge, let it get cold. And by the end of our class here, we can go ahead and drink this on ice. It's good on ice, or it's good heated up hot. I'm going to go ahead and put the tea in the fridge. We're going to turn this into chai iced tea by drinking it over ice. But like I said, it's delicious warm too, which is how I'm enjoying it right now. Okay, guys, now we have our iced tea done. Let's go ahead and talk about our soup that I'm going to be making today. I'm going to be making a coconut curry with tofu soup, and I have a soup pot right here, and I'm going to go ahead and heat it up with my burner, my induction burner, and I have an onion I'm going to go ahead and dice. If you're cooking with kids, go ahead and chop the onion up for them. I'm going to use my chef knife to cut up my onion. I always tell everybody this is the most important tool in your kitchen, and you want to make sure that you have a nice, sharp chef knife. And this is called a steel. This is what we use for honing our knife to make sure it stays nice and sharp. So I just slide my knife across the steel at an angle. Make sure it's nice and sharp before I go ahead and get started. And you know, you should be doing this every time you cook. So if you don't have a good chef knife and you don't have a good steel, grown-up chefs, go ahead and get both of these tools right here. They're really important. All right, I'm going to put my steel down, and I have my onion. I'm going to go ahead and cut up. This is the root end of the onion. We're going to keep that on, and we'll go ahead and just slice off the other end. That's going to go in our compost. And the root end stays on because that's going to hold the onion pieces together while we dice our onion up. So our pot is getting hot, folks. We always make sure that we cook with a hot pot. We don't cook in a cold pot. And we don't turn the pot on after we put the food in it. We go ahead and preheat that pot just like we would preheat an oven. So now that I have my onion peeled, I'll go ahead and put in a little bit of oil. I'm just going to use a little bit of olive oil today. That looks good, guys. So now the olive oil is starting to preheat. And I'm going to finish dicing my onion. And I just kind of follow the natural lines on the onion. Make strips on both halves. And then we go ahead, hold our knife. Remember, we want to hold it correctly. And we use a rocking motion to dice up that either yellow or white onion. I suppose the red would work too. All right. Whew. Getting my onion all nice and diced. If you see, when you dice an onion correctly, you have little waves and you have nice, even pieces. So we'll go ahead, put our onion in, and we'll get that sauteing. You hear that sound? That's the sound of cooking. That's what we want to hear. Ooh, nice and warm. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in right away, guys. I always tell people to season in layers, season as you go. Just a big hefty pinch of salt right on top of the onion to get them nice and soft right from the get-go. And we're going to put some carrots in there. All righty. I have 3 small carrots. You could use a big carrot. I went ahead and washed these really well. They're organic carrots. I'm actually going to not worry about peeling them. If you want to peel your carrots at home, you go right ahead. But these carrots are nice and young and clean. I'm not going to worry about peeling them, but I am going to dice them up small and put them in our pot. We're also going to use some carrot in our spring roll today. That's what I'm saving that extra carrot off to the side for. All right. Again, now that I have my carrots in strips, I'm going to use my chef knife to make a rocking motion. At this point, if you have strips, you could, if you have older kids, give them a paring knife to cut those into dices. If you have younger kids, you could use one of my Curious Chef knives. This is a great tool for them to learn how to start cooking. All right, so that way they would just go through one piece of carrot at a time to learn some basic motor skills and coordination with their knife and to how to dice. All right. Cooking is a super important skill for children to learn. I get kids cooking in the kitchen as young as 2 years old. You can have them snip herbs with scissors or even just pull them apart with their fingers and really have them do all sorts of different age-appropriate tasks. All right, so we have our carrot in there. We have some beautiful oyster mushrooms today, guys. They're gorgeous. We're going to use some of those. You could use button mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, really any kind of mushrooms would go delicious in this soup. Oh, and we also have some bell pepper. Let's go ahead and get the bell pepper ready. I'm going to use half of this guy. Okay, put the other half back. Go ahead and get the seeds out and dice it up and put it in my soup. So we're building flavor in our Southeast Asian inspired coconut curry soup with tofu and vegetables. This is very similar to different soups that you'll get in your neighborhood Thai restaurant. And this is a really affordable version to make at home. Nice and healthy too, and you can control the spice level. All right, I have my half of pepper diced. I'm gonna add that to the carrot and onion. Give that a saute. And let's check out these beautiful oyster mushrooms now, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and just slice them into small pieces, slice them and dice them, and saute those as well. I love mushrooms, and they're a really great product for children to cut up as well with the Curious Chef knife. And you can also even give them mushrooms with a pair of scissors to snip up. Great soft veggie for children to cut up for the first time, and it really doesn't need to be uniform. So we're just gonna give those mushrooms, the oyster mushrooms, a nice rough chop. Beautiful. These were grown locally, and the Willie Street Co-op donated our food today. So these are some organic, beautiful oyster mushrooms from the Willie Street Co-op. Okay, I'm gonna put my oyster mushrooms in there. And then again, let's go ahead and put a little bit more salt, right? Season in layers. I'm using sea salt today. I'm gonna turn my heat up a little bit, guys. I really wanna kind of get some browning on these mushrooms. Get them cooked nice and brown, and really get the moisture cooked out so that they develop a lot of flavor. While the mushrooms are cooking, let's go ahead and check out our squash that we're gonna put in there. We're gonna use some zucchini or some summer squash. This is a zucchini, and this is called a patty pan squash. We're gonna use that today, and they're both a type of summer squash, interchangeable. I really like how the patty pan looks. You know, I think I might actually only need one of these. So let's go ahead and use the patty pan. It's really cool. Almost shaped like a star. Okay. And again, if you get the patty pan cut down into circles, you could give a child a knife to cut it into strips and then cut their squash into squares or dice, as we call them. And we're going to go ahead and put that in the pot as well. All right, we're really getting our vegetables nice and cooked here. And we're going to use some red curry paste today for flavor. This is the Thai red curry paste. And I like to use this Thai Kitchen brand, but there's a few different brands that you can use. This has a ton of flavor. It has spices including red chili pepper, garlic, lemongrass, salt, shallot, coriander root, and kaffir lime leaf. So, ton of flavor packed into this little jar. If you're feeling ambitious, you could look up a recipe and make your own red curry paste. But we went ahead again and got that from the Willie Street Co-op. Put all of our squash in. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and compost those woody mushroom stems too. All right, guys. Squash is in, mushrooms are in. Oh, it smells so good. We're going to use some garlic. Can't get enough garlic, right? There's garlic in the curry paste already, but we're going to use some more. Don't ever buy the jarred stuff. I really like it chopped up fresh right before you use it. That's going to give you the best flavor. And if you have a garlic press, that's a great tool to get the garlic out of its peel. You would just use the back of a knife to loosen the peel off of the garlic cloves. Peel it. Oh, I think it smells so good, you guys. I just love the smell of garlic. I'm going to peel it, and I'm going to go ahead, chop that garlic up as well, and we'll get it in the pot in a minute. Oh, smelling good, guys. Smelling good. Okay. Let's go ahead and run our knife through our garlic. We can even put a sprinkle of salt on it, and that'll help to really macerate it and help it stick to our cutting board. And make sure, macerate just means really, really, really nice and juicy and small, so all of the garlic flavor is really there. Nice and aromatic. All right, so we have our garlic. Put that into the pot. Oh, I wish we had smell vision, guys. Our coconut curry soup is starting to smell wonderful. Okay, so remember we have red pepper in the pot. We have our carrots, our patty squash, our onion, now our garlic. Let's go ahead and put some of our red curry paste in. We want to get this sauteed too to kind of wake up the spices and bring out the flavor of the ingredients that are in the curry. Get a spoon over here. And you're going to use this to taste. You can use anywhere from 1 to 4 tablespoons. I would start with 2 probably. You just want to have a nice amount of flavor there. It is spicy though. Oh, so that's why you can use the amount that your family likes. I'm using quite a bit of red curry paste. And like I said, I'm sauteing it to really release the aromatic properties of all of those herbs and spices and chilies. Smelling good, smelling good. So let's talk about our tofu, guys. I went ahead and prepared this tofu ahead of time by slicing tofu in water, putting it on a sheet tray and freezing it. Then I thawed it, squeezed out the water, and baked it in an Asian sesame marinade. You can buy already flavored tofu, or you can use plain tofu, but I went ahead and made sure I had a really nice seasoned tofu to put in our soup today. I'm going to go ahead and dice that into small pieces, and we'll add our tofu as well. Tofu is actually made similarly to cheese, where they take soy milk, they add an acid, like lemon juice, and the curd and the whey separate, the curd being the tofu, and then they press it like they would cheese to make it into blocks. Pretty cool process. Oh, smelling good, smelling good. Okay. I have a can of coconut milk that I'm going to use in this. That's going to make a really nice, rich, and creamy broth. Full fat coconut milk. I'm going to dump that in there. Get it nice and combined. And then I'll go ahead and add about 6 cups of water to my soup. Let's see. I have a measuring cup here, and I'm just going to very carefully take my pot back to the sink and measure 6 cups of water, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, awesome. Bring my pot back over to my burner here. Give it a stir so that the water is combined. And I have some vegetable bouillon cubes. I'm going to go ahead and add 6 of those so that we're actually adding vegetable stock. You could use box stock, or you could do this like me, or who knows, maybe you make your own stock, but I'm going to use not chicken, so actually vegetarian bouillon cubes right in there. That's going to make it so it's extra flavorful. Smelling good, smelling good. You could also use chicken in this soup, guys. You could use sliced chicken breast instead of tofu, and you could use chicken bouillon if you'd like. It's up to you. Our version today is going to be vegan. All right, so we're going to go ahead and give that a good stir. I have a can of bamboo shoots I'm going to add, guys. This would also be good with baby corn. I just love bamboo shoots, though. And now add another pinch of salt, and I'm going to bring my soup to a simmer before I add my rice noodles, my lime juice, and some cilantro. And that's like pretty much it, you guys. I love making soup. People say, what is your best dish? And I always say soup. Any kind of soup, my best dish. All right, we got to taste the soup in a minute. I'm going to let it get a little bit more warm. Okay, set my trash aside and clean up a little bit. And then we're gonna move on to making our spring rolls. We're gonna make shrimp and avocado spring rolls with some different vegetables. It'll kind of make for a rainbow colored roll. It's gonna be gorgeous. I think I'm gonna take another drink of my tea real quick though. And I might find a lid for my pot. If you put a lid on your soup is gonna come up to a simmer quickly. Our soup has a beautiful color from that red curry paste. It'll also give it a delicious flavor. All right, guys, so we're making our shrimp spring rolls. I have a lot of different ingredients that we're going to use here. We're just going to go ahead and chop everything up and get it all ready to go to put in our spring rolls. Get our mise en place done before we roll those rolls up. And let's go ahead and make a painter's palette for our spring rolls. A painter's palette is a plate with all of your different ingredients, all perfectly prepped, so that when you make your spring roll, you can go ahead and just reach from your painter's palette. That's what I call it. You'll see in a moment here. Okay, guys, so I have that other half of red bell pepper here. I'm going to go ahead and take the seeds out, and we're going to make strips. Those strips are called a julienne. And it's important to have a nice sharp knife when making a julienne. And so you could also give a child scissors to cut strips here, or the Curious Chef knife will work. Or you can do this for them and they can just do the rolling. Whatever works for your family. Red bell pepper is so good for you. It actually has more vitamin C than an orange. I was very surprised to learn that. So I try to snack on raw red bell pepper all the time. Okay, so we have our red bell pepper in one spot on our painter's palette. And look, you guys, I actually have a purple pepper today. Pretty cool here. You don't see that always, but it's summertime and they grow these locally. And I was able to get a purple pepper. This is not spicy. It's nice and sweet and mild, just like a red bell pepper. And you see, I cut off the top, I cut off the bottom, and now I'm kind of filleting it out to get the seeds out. And oh, let's just use half of that, and we'll save the other half and save the top and the bottom for my salad that I'll have tomorrow. Get all that pith out of there, guys, and go ahead and julienne your red bell pepper. Okay. Or excuse me, your purple bell pepper, and put it next to your red bell pepper. Let's talk about our carrot. We're going to use carrot again, but instead of dicing it, we're going to go ahead and shred it. Kids, I use cheese graters with them all the time, but I always tell them knuckles up. You want to make sure you see your knuckles. Don't have them going down on the cheese grater, because kids can sometimes nick their fingers on these and get little owies. But if they're really careful, this is actually a really good tool for young children to use. They just need to be careful, like I said. All right, guys, and you see I'm really using my leverage here. Get this carrot grated. Talk to your kids about leverage. That's why we also stand up while we cook. Okay, got a section for my carrot on my painter's palette. I have some green onion, guys. This will add a ton of flavor. I'm just going to use the green part of the green onion, and I'm going to actually not even worry about mincing this, but we can just go ahead and slice each piece down the middle. This is great job for scissors. Green onions, and you might think your kid doesn't like onions. I've seen kids eat chives out of the garden a million times and they absolutely love them. Okay, I have some lettuce leaves here, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of shred this lettuce so that the center rib gets nice and small. Okay, so let's talk about our shrimp, you guys. I had raw shrimp, and I just went ahead and put it in salted boiling water for about 3 minutes until the shrimp curled. You could also use already cooked frozen shrimp that you go ahead and defrost, or you could cook your own shrimp. So after I cooked them, I ran them under cold water until they were cooled, and now I'm going to peel them and just run a knife down the back to make sure that there's no vein, and if there is, just carefully take it out and put it in a container with the shells. And these are medium-sized shrimp. I'm not even going to worry about cutting them in half. So I have a container of shrimp right here. I have some more shrimp. I'm going to go ahead and put those in the fridge. We're just going to go ahead and make a few spring rolls for you guys. Love me some spring rolls. I have some noodles, rice noodles that I cooked. They're a little bit sticky, but that's okay. You can keep them in water and they won't be sticky. Just make sure you cook those ahead of time. Or excuse me, not too far ahead of time. Oh, our soup is almost at a simmer, almost ready to add these other noodles. We're going to have noodles in our soup and noodles in our spring roll. If you don't like the noodles in both, by all means, you can just have them in the soup or the spring rolls. Here's a ripe avocado, you guys. Avocado, when it's ripe, the skin is usually black. It's soft to the touch. This is actually a stone fruit, believe it or not. And we're going to be really careful in removing the pit. And I guess we'll just use half of the avocado today. But as you see, the pit is on one side, and we got to get that guy out. I just use my thumb. Some people use a knife. I just stick my thumb in there and get it out, and then go ahead and wipe my thumb off on a towel. And I use my thumb to carefully peel off the skin of the avocado. All right, so there we go. And let me go ahead and slice my avocado into thin pieces and put that on my painter's palette as well. So you guys see, I have this beautiful painter's palette, I like to call it, but it's a tray of all of my different ingredients for my spring rolls. So now I can go ahead and get my cutting board out of the way so I have some room to roll up a couple of these delicious Southeast Asian delicacies that are eaten in the spring or summertime to celebrate the abundance of fresh vegetables. Oh, our soup is simmering now, you guys. It smells so, so good, so good. I'm going to go ahead and give our soup a taste before I add the noodles to see if it needs any additional salt or curry powder or curry paste, excuse me. It's delicious. It doesn't need any more salt, you guys. But I really think it could use a little bit more red curry paste. So I'm going to put it in mine. We're going to make ours extra spicy over here. We're using 1 whole jar. Okay. And depending on the brand, it could have a different heat level. So like I said, go slow with this curry paste. All right, I'm going to let that simmer for a little bit longer since we added more curry paste. Let's go ahead and start to make our spring rolls, guys. So to make those, we're going to use rice paper wrappers. They might say spring roll skin. They might say rice paper wrapper. You can find these at the Asian store or at the Willie Street Co-op. We're going to get a couple of these out. I'm going to go ahead and make 2 of these to show you guys. But you have a lot of ingredients here. You can make small ones, big ones. So you can make multiple. You can really make as many as you want. You prep as much stuff to make as many spring rolls as you'd like. Okay. Now, I've been to places that have spring rolls as big as a burrito, and I've been to places that have really tiny ones. It's all a matter of personal preference. So we have our rice paper wrapper, and I have some warm water right here, and I'm submerging the rice paper wrapper under the water till it's nice and soft. We're getting the rice paper wrapper softened so that it's flexible. But we don't want it like totally mushy. Sometimes if you soften it too much, it'll get really clingy and it'll be difficult to work with. You don't want to do that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the noodles, more of these rice noodles, guys. Thai Kitchen brand again today, to the soup now. Go ahead and put the lid back on, and these only take a few minutes to cook. And then we'll squeeze in the lime juice, maybe add some cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, you could use mint or more of the green onion. And that soup will be ready to eat. Delicious vegetarian soup, actually vegan. That means it has no animal products. And we can even just turn it off so that it's not rapidly boiling. Okay, so our rice paper wrapper is nice and soft. Let's go ahead and put another one in there. And I'm, broke a rice paper. And if they break really easy, they're fragile. And I squeeze the water out, and I have it. And I'm gonna set it on my counter right here and spread it out. Okay, so I'm gonna put down a little bed of lettuce, 1 or 2 slices of avocado, a small amount of our rice noodles, a few of these beautiful shrimp. Ooh, I think I'm gonna use 4. All right, a couple strips of green onion, a little bit of carrot, and a couple of each color of bell pepper, and everything all across in a row. I kind of say you want it nice and tight, like a guy sleeping in a sleeping bag, not all spread out. And then I'll go ahead and I'll bring the bottom of the spring roll wrapper up over all the ingredients, tuck in the sides, and just very carefully roll everything up tightly, whoop, into a spring roll. Ooh, this one, it broke a tiny bit, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and make another one. Look at that, looks gorgeous. And if you have some black sesame seeds, you can sprinkle some black sesame seeds on there. I think I went ahead and soaked that for a little bit too long, so I'll go ahead and use a different one. If you soak it too long like I do, just go ahead and toss it, okay? We'll go ahead and toss that one. And let's check our soup now, guys. Our soup is ready. So let's see. Let's get a bowl of soup. We can taste that. Our noodles are nice and soft. Use my measuring cup, excuse me, to try to get a little bit of everything into my bowl here. Oh, this soup looks so good. Okay, guys, here's our soup, our beautiful coconut curry soup. Oh, it's gonna taste so good. I'm gonna put that right next to my spring roll. And let's show you guys how to roll 1 more of these spring rolls, right? Oh, let's not forget about our tea either. We need a cup of iced tea. Okay, let's give this another shot. So we have a little bit, and you have to move fast, little bit of lettuce, a little bit of avocado, peppers, carrots, onion, noodles, and shrimp. Maybe I'll use 3 in this one instead of 4. Okay, sometimes less is more with these guys. You don't want to put too much stuff because then they're difficult to eat. Okay, and you roll it up. And there you go. There's another spring roll. And I have some delicious spring roll sauce that I'm going to eat mine with today. My soup's ready. Let's go ahead. Oh, here I have a lime, guys. I'm going to go ahead and slice a lime. We can go ahead and give our food a try. The juice of a lime. And I think I'll use green onion instead of cilantro, guys. I'll just tear a couple pieces of green onion to garnish my soup. Do that with some cilantro leaves or some mint leaves also. Adds beautiful color. Okay, that looks gorgeous. I'm going to put a little bit of the spring roll sauce on my plate. A little bit on my mom's plate. Well, I'll let her do that. Okay, go ahead and try everything. Oh, let's get our tea, guys. Let's see. My cup from earlier is empty. I'm going to put some ice in it. Just love Thai or chai iced tea, latte, cold or hot. Would be good with any herb tea, really. Here's our iced chai tea, guys. Whoop. Ah, so good. Set that aside. All right. Get a spoon for my soup. Go ahead and give my soup a taste. So flavorful, guys and gals, folks. Try my spring roll. So good. Maybe a little bit of salt. All right, everybody. There's our coconut curry soup with tofu, our shrimp and avocado spring rolls, and our chai iced tea. Thanks so much for joining us. See you guys next time.